Well, hello folks. This is Who Did You Boycott today. I just jumped on here to say a few words. I'm not changing my title, but this sorry human being by the name of Chicago Red, she's in shut up space and cutting off folks at will. I don't understand why y'all folks allow these human beings to disrespect you. She cut folks off right in the middle of them making comments. That's been her pattern since she got over here on Twitter land, and no one seems to want to check her. What's y'all problem? Y'all don't have enough backbone to check this lady? Y'all just let her get on a stage and cut folks off right in the middle of them making a comment, and no one checks her? Y'all look pitiful. Y'all look really pitiful and embarrassing to allow this sorry human being to get on a public app and cut you off at will right in the middle of you making your comment. And as far as this caping for the Republicans and caping for the Democrats and caping for the independents, these folks don't have much longer. They do not have much longer. Every one of these persons who are running around here praying that Trump get into office, you are 4 years late. You are 4 years late. Chicago Red, Mark King Carter, Derek Gibson, all of you folks are 4 years late. 4, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4. They locked down the voting block in 2020 with illegal immigrants. They're illegal. So you're not going to be deporting them. So why are you wasting your energy and time and money when you should be spending that energy and time and money to get your people to safety to one of these 8 states? If you really cared about your well-being. Now those like Chicago Red, she's comfortable. She's in a comfortable position. She's financially secure. She can afford to get on a public app and cape for a Republican, because she's positioned. Her position is secured. She's seen from what I've been able to hear come out of her mouth. She's financially secured, and her family and her connections got her in a very comfortable position. She's gonna be okay. She's gonna be okay. She's gonna be okay. But you folks that are listening to her, you brain dead human beings who are listening to Chicago Red, you may not be in the same financial and inside connection position that she have. She can afford to get on this public app and cape for Republicans. She can afford it because she's already positioned herself. She's in a very comfortable position. But that comfortable position that she's in is not going to help my people who are in the ghetto, the projects, in the hood. I know that. See, I know that because I was in that environment myself in the military. It's just unbelievable the similarities of the chain of command in the military in the chain of command of you civilian folks. They both operate from a chain of command. They both, for the most part, operate from a chain of command, and there's folks at the top, there's folks in the middle, and there's folks at the bottom. And in the military, they put me to the test. You had to make a decision if you're gonna stand your own ground, or you were gonna be a part of the good old boys club. Well, I got lucky. I had folks in the military, like my sister and her husband, who had connections, who knew somebody, who knew somebody, who knew somebody, who knew somebody, who knew somebody. So anytime I couldn't handle things, I just had to walk over to the phone and call them up, and they took care of it. I had to call them a few times. Yes, Lord. I had to call them. I had to get on that darn phone and call up my sister, and she tapped into her network, and in less than 24 hours, those persons changed their tune around me. I seen it in real time. I seen it happen in real time, just that quickly. So Chicago Red is in there being completely rude to everybody who's trying to talk And I don't understand why it's being allowed. I just have a simple question. Why is she being allowed to be rude and disrespectful to all the other speakers that are trying to talk? And she's been doing that for weeks now, since she got over here to Twitterland, and no one seems to bother. No one seems to bother to check her. Yeah, are y'all that weak? Are y'all that weak that y'all can't check this little lady? She's not a huge person. She's not a huge person. So what is hindering you? What is hindering you from checking her? At my age of 62, I just detest weak backbone people. I really do. I'm gonna tell you right now. That's one of my things that really irked my guts. It just really irks my guts to the end to witness weak, non-backbone people. I really do. It really irks my soul because of the environment that I grew up in, the projects. You couldn't be weak. You just couldn't. You couldn't. If they even sniffed weakness in you, you were gonna have a bad day. You were going to have a bad day. And every time they seen you, you were going to have a bad day. That's the kind of environment that shapes you. My first 9 years on this earth was in the projects. I'm thankful for that. I'm very thankful for it. I'm very thankful for it because if I had not grown up in that environment, I wouldn't have made it. It would took my mother and the environment that shaped me to help me to navigate these landmines for 62 years. For 62 years, I give a lot of thanks to my mother first, and my brothers and sisters, and my environment, my community, that helped shape me not to grow up to be a weak backbone person, because you wouldn't have survived. You would not have survived if you would have shown any signs of being a weak backbone person. You were going to have a miserable day every day you woke up until you found a backbone, until you stood your ground. Even if you got beat up, you're going to be respected because you showed a backbone. I mean, I saw a lot of folks lose fights. I only remember losing one fight in my lifetime where this girl sat on me in the 4th grade. Other than that, I can't ever remember getting beat up. Maybe, and I know why, because my family had a reputation. They did. We had to have a reputation. Otherwise, we was going to get beat up every day, and we was not going to get beat up every day. So you kind of like just had to build a reputation that spoke for itself. So I just don't understand how folks. I don't know how folks stand up straight. They got a weak backbone and a crooked spine, and they just show nothing but weakness, complete weakness. Like I repeated again, you can even lose a fight. You can even lose the fight. You can lose the battle, but at least if you could at least show that you have a backbone and you stood your ground, even if you have to go down fighting, at least you stood your ground. I know good and darn well it's a lot of folks that could beat me up. I know that. I'm not brain dead. I know it's many folks out there that's bigger than me, probably faster than me, and they could beat me up. But one thing I know also is that if I get knocked down, I'm going to get back up. I'm going to stand my ground. I'm not going to show a weak backbone. I'm just not going to show no weak backbone. But getting back to the gist of the matter, all of these human beings who are talking to you about voting, they are 4 years late. They are 4 years late. 4. Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And they are not talking about the oligarchy. The oligarchy own the government and control it, and they have power over it. They own it, they control it, and they have power over it since 1981. That's over 40 years. That's not going to change on the 6th of November. That's not going to change on the 7th of November. That's not going to change on the 8th of November. But these folks who are trying to shame you into voting and fearmonger you into voting, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about that oligarchy. How they plan to tear it down? What's the strategy? What's the plan? What's the strategy to tear that oligarchy down to the ground that's been in control and in power for over 40 years? They're not talking about that. It's a big secret. It's just a big secret. And then the other thing they're not talking about is that they are criminals. Every one of them. I have come to the conclusion, every person that is telling another person to go vote is a criminal now, because the information is on Google. It's just a click away. So now I have done my evaluation, and I have come to the conclusion that each one of these adults that are telling another person to go vote, they are criminals, because they simply have to go to Google and do a search and get the breakdown of the population of all 52 states. If they get that breakdown of the population of all 52 states, they'll stop embarrassing themselves by getting on a public app talking about voting. But they haven't done that. Or maybe they have done it, and they just out here caping for their own position so they can get that invite to that inside club. It's a lot of variables there. It's a lot of unknown variables, but the information is on Google. The information is on Google of the breakdown of the population. And Negroes and those that go by Blk American and melanated persons do not have a population in 25 states. It's non-existent. It's non-existent. It's non-existent in 25. 25 out of 52. So you already, right out of the gate, you starting behind the 8 ball. You are at a disadvantage. You don't have a population in 25 states. So why would any adult be running around here encouraging their community to go vote? Instead, they should be encouraging their community to gather up all their pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters and put them in a cookie jar and buy land and buy a house and invest in a business. Once you get those 3 things in place, if you have anything left over, help your community. But you don't try to play your enemy's game. They got the deck stacked against you. They got the deck stacked against you, and you don't waste your energy and time and money trying to play your enemy's game when you know it. When you have figured out that the deck is stacked against you, you're wasting time. You're wasting time, precious time. So if folks are doing that, it's got to be a reason. It's not adding up. It's got to be a reason. If adults are running around here encouraging their community to go vote, it's got to be a reason. And again, a lot of unknown variables is in play. I can make a lot of guesses. But my common sense tells me that there's a lot of variables that are not adding up. Because these are adults, intelligent, common sense adults that are encouraging their people to continue to participate in this corrupt system. And the country has been invaded and taken over. Your little vote and my little vote is not going to undo that. Are y'all that delusional? Are y'all really that delusional? Y'all cannot be that delusional that you really believe that your little vote on the 5th of November, your little vote and my little vote on the 5th of November is going to change that. Y'all can't be that delusional. It's not possible. It's just not humanly possible for any adult to be that delusional. The legal, let's all say it together. Let's all say it together. The legal immigrants have locked down the voting block. They have made a contract with the Caucasians and the Asians. They already don't sign the contract. The contract is already signed and delivered. It's signed and delivered, and they're showing you proof of that by hiring them on the police force and letting them in the military and rolling out the red carpet to the invaders. How much more clear can they tell you that your vote don't matter? Do they need to step before the microphone and say your vote don't matter, and then you'll believe it? Maybe that's what you're waiting on. Yeah, that's what you brain dead adults are waiting on. You waiting on those politicians and those folks running around caping for the Republicans and the Democrats and the independents. You waiting on them to step before that microphone and tell you that your vote don't matter before you believe it. With all the proof that you got in front of you, you still under the delusion that your vote matters. And that is really bizarre. That is really bizarre. And the Caucasians and the Asians and the Latinos and Mexicans, they can afford to play that game. But the Negroes and the Black Americans and melanated human beings, you can't afford to play that game. You can't afford to play your enemy's game. And you need to back out of that arena. You need to back out of it. You need to back out of that arena and start saving your pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters and buy land, buy home, and invest in a business. If you got any left over, invest in your community. Because that's what your enemies are doing. While y'all busy, while they keeping you busy, while they keeping all you brain dead human beings busy, behind the scenes, they buying up land and homes and investing in businesses. Why they got you busy trying to play their game? Because they know if you over there playing their game, your attention is not directed towards what's going to benefit your well-being in the future. They know that. They know as long as they can keep you occupied, and distracted, your time and money and attention is not going into your own well-being. You're putting your faith in this politician stuff, this voting, and they so happy. They are so happy to keep you distracted. They are very, very happy to keep you distracted playing their game when it's stacked. The deck is stacked. The oligarchies own the government since 1981. The only other two times that America was under a oligarchy was during slavery. The second time during the Industrial Revolution. And now all of us good folks who've been alive for the past 40 years, we've been under that control and power since 1981. And just with a little bit of research, you will see with your own eyes, America started going downhill after 1981. Just connect the dots. The paper trail is out there for those that want to research it, for those who want to research it. And it's no excuse. It's no excuse for these adults to be running around here encouraging folks to go vote. So now I have determined that each one of them are criminals. They are criminals, and they are doing it deliberately because the information is out there. 25 states, the Caucasians and the Asians and the Latinos and the Mexicans control. They own them. They own them. They own them, and you will not be getting any policies or laws passed in those 25. And out of the 27 that's left over, the Negro / Black American / melanated person only have a sizable population in 8. Y'all counted on y'all other 2 hands. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Out of that 27 that's left over, The Negro and the slash Black American slash melanated human beings walking the face of the earth only have a sizable population in 8. And so that means doing basic math, not algebra, just simple math. The Caucasians, the Asians, the Latinos, and the Mexicans, they control 44 out of the 52. 44 out of the 52. So that is why each one of these persons that I hear talk about encouraging anybody to go vote, I will identify them as a criminal from now on, to the day I die. Until the Negro and the slash Black Americans and melanated human beings get 3 things in place, I'm going to identify each of these persons as criminals. Until these 3 things are in place. Number 1, know your number count. Know your number count in all states that you live. Until the Negro slash Black Americans and melanated human beings know their number count down to the nitty gritty as close as possible, I'm going to continue to identify these persons as criminals. Number 2, the Negroes and the Black Americans and melanated persons need to get themselves financially secured by buying land and houses and other assets to build up their economic security. That's number 2, economic security. Number 1 is knowing your number count. Number 2 is economic security. Number 3 is building a network, a business network, or whatever you want to call it, a political network, a community network that you can that give you a voice. That means if you got 100 or 200 networks in Alabama, you got 200 networks in North Carolina, you got 200 networks in Maryland, you got all these networks in each of the states that you got the largest population in. It should be a network. And you put that network in place and you put it into operation. And these politicians are going to pay you some attention. They're going to start paying you some attention because you're going to have a voice. You're going to have collective power. You're going to have collective power and your voice is going to be heard. Until those 3 things are put in place, you just blowing in the wind. You just talking to the wind. You are blowing in the wind. You are talking in the wind. You are blowing in the wind. You are talking in the wind. You are blowing in the wind. Until those 3 things are in place, you're wasting your time. And I left out one. Until you fight for your birthright in America and get your birthright recognized in America, you're wasting your time also. Because as it stands right now, this very second, America don't recognize your birthright. America don't recognize you having an official identity. America don't recognize you having an official ethnicity. You don't have any of those 3. So if these adults really had a backbone, they should be fighting for their birthright first, because can't no laws and policies apply to you if your birthright is not recognized. If America don't recognize your birthright, then it don't matter what policies and laws are passed, they won't apply to you, like they have not for the past 50 years, because America decided in 1968 to lump Negroes under a term called Black American and African American. That's what they decided to do. They put that diabolical plan into motion in 1968. In 1968, they put that diabolical plan into motion. And then on the 8th of April, 2024, you folks need to shimmy on over to the OMB website and read the definition. Every immigrant is recognized with a birthright. They are recognized with an identity. They are recognized with an ethnicity. That's the first thing. The second thing, every immigrant has a national origin. That's number two. Number three, every immigrant comes from a nation. They come from a nation. They migrated from a nation. That's the big one. That's the big one. Black American and African American don't have any of those three. So you got three strikes right out of the gate. All you folks who are calling yourself Black Americans and African American, you got three strikes against you before you get out the gate. Before you get out the gate, before you put your feet on the floor in the morning, before you put your feet on the floor in the morning, before you put your feet on the floor in the morning, you already got three strikes against you. But these sorry human beings are wasting precious time talking about voting. Make it make sense. Somebody please make it make sense. Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. Y'all folks are waking up day after day and putting your feet on the floor, and you don't even have a birthright. You don't even have an official identity, an official ethnicity. But you wake up day after day and find time to cape for your enemy. You find precious time to cape for your enemy. It's very bizarre. I must tell you, it is very, very bizarre to witness this day after day. I just sit in my little spot and I just sit back and observe you adults running around here like little minions. When every morning that you wake up and put your feet on the floor, you don't have a birthright that's recognized, that's acknowledged. You don't have an identity that's recognized and acknowledged. You don't have an ethnicity that's recognized and acknowledged. But you got plenty of time to plan your little events and your little celebrations and your little marches and your little pull-ups. Oh, you got all the time in the world to do all these superficial activities while you are making sure that your children and grandkids endure the same faith that you have. That's the sad part. That's the very, very sad part, that each of you adults that understand and have done this research and know these facts, you're still waking up day after day and not doing anything about it. You're not doing not one iota thing about it. You're not sending a message to the OMB and America and the Congress and the Senate and the President and the Vice President that you demand your birthright to be recognized. I haven't seen one space about that. Not from Clubhouse to fan base to Twitter land in the past 2 years. I have not seen one space on YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. I have yet to see one room talk about that. But y'all got all the time in the world to talk about this superficial stuff. Superficial stuff. I'm going to say in closing, if you care about your well-being and your children and grandkids, please, for God's sake, try to get your kids to one of these 8 states. Get in touch with Black Majority State Migration and his support team and try to get your family. Try to get your family, as many of your family members and loved ones, to one of these 8 states. For God's sake, do that, please. Because if they only need about another year or 2 to lock everything down. They are working overtime to get it completed. And I estimate about another year or 2. By midterm election, they'll have it all locked down. They'll have it all locked down. And Negroes / Black American / melanated human beings are going to be in pretty bad situation, because they're not going to be able to get any policies and laws that impact them in a positive way at the local, state, and federal level, because these folks have already signed a contract with each other, and they got the majority. They have the majority, and they have already signed the contract to share power. It's no secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret. I can see it as plain as the nose on my face. I can see it as plain as the nose on my face that each of the Caucasians, all of them who pretend they white, all of them who pretend they white, Germans, Italians, Ireland, Jews, Asians, Latinos, they all try to claim white because they want that privilege, when they clearly know, when they look in the mirror, they not white. When they look at their paperwork, they not white. They don't see the word white spelled on none of their paperwork. Not one piece of paper spells their ethnicity white. And they know this. They know they're German. They spell the word German. They know how to spell the word Italian. They know how to spell the word Ireland. Do any of those three words spell white? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think any of those three words spell white or Caucasian. But I prefer the Caucasian over that little white word. I have abolished that white word. I have abolished white and black. Those are two words from my vocabulary that I have abolished. I made that decision months ago. Months ago, I made that decision to abolish them. I have the right to do it, and I have done it. Just that simple. Just that simple. So in closing, for those that really care, who want to try to figure some of this madness out, for those that care and want to try to figure some of this madness out, gather up your pennies and nickels and dimes and quarters and try to get to one of these 8 states if you can. If you have the ability to relocate, get to one of those 8 states before they take over those. Before they take over those 8, try to get to one of those 8 states as soon as possible, and maybe we can have a fighting chance to once we get our numbers up, to strategize on how to go forward. Because right now it's not looking too good. It's not looking too good, and folks are spending precious time and energy and money on things that could be spent to help folks get relocated, like that Juneteenth fake holiday that they did not put Negro on the JPEG. All of that money that's going to be spent for 3 days could help a lot of folks relocate to one of these 8 states. All that money that Tariq Nasheed is raising could be used to help folks relocate to one of these 8 states. But y'all folks don't want to do that. All these events, all these pull-ups. You had one in Atlanta. You don't had one in D.C. You got one coming up in Chicago. All that darn money could be spent to buy land and houses and invest in businesses. But y'all not doing that. Your enemy got you playing you like a fiddle. They are playing you persons like a fiddle. They got you distracted and wasting your time and energy and money on foolishness while they busy buying land and homes and investing in businesses. You brain dead human beings are planning events. What in the hell do you got to celebrate? You're going to celebrate that superficial holiday called Juneteenth, the one that you left Negro off the JPEG? You folks don't inherit your enemy's sickness. Y'all are exhibiting traits of your enemy now. It done got so bad. The mental damage has gotten so bad that you are literally exhibiting traits of your enemy. All that darn money gonna get spent for 3 days on a fake, superficial Juneteenth. Why couldn't those persons who are organizing that event, why couldn't those persons who took the energy and time to decide to organize that event, why they couldn't get in contact with black majority state migration and say, let us contribute to a fund to help some of our people relocate? They didn't want to do that. That's asking too much. That's too sensible. That's asking too much. It's just too sensible. It's just too sensible for them to want to do that. So, y'all folks got about 5 months of this misery, and it's all going to come. It's getting ready to come to an end. If it makes it 5 more months, my common sense tells me this country going to be on fire before the next 5 months is up. I think it's going to be on fire. I felt that way since January the 6th. Just the morning I woke up and saw that foolishness on January the 6th, I knew by the time the national election rolled around, this country would be on fire. And it's right on schedule. It's right on schedule. It's like a powder cake waiting to explode. It's a darn powder cake. A darn powder cake waiting to explode. And y'all folks got time to celebrate? Y'all got what in the hell do you got to celebrate? If you had a brain in your head, you would be figuring out how to secure your financial security under you, a safety net. Don't that make more sense? Don't that make more sense? That unless you got financial security already underneath you, then why would you be thinking that this is the right time to be celebrating? I don't know what in the hell y'all got to celebrate. I would like to know. I don't know. I can't think of anything. I didn't celebrate my birthday on the 29th of April. I long since stopped celebrating these pagan holidays. So what are y'all celebrating? Please enlighten me. Please enlighten me as to what in the hell you got to celebrate. Because the Negroes are at the bottom. So I would kind of like to understand what you got to celebrate. That little superficial holiday that you left the Negro off the JPEG and you're supposed to be honoring your ancestors. How in the hell do you honor your ancestor and leave Negro off the JPEG? I don't see how you do that. Because you're fake. Y'all faking the funk. Y'all faking the funk. You're faking the funk. That's how you leave Negro off of that JPEG. Because you know how to fake the funk. You know how to put on a pretense. So I would like y'all folks to please, for the sake of God, explain to me what in the hell you celebrating. Do that for me, please. Seeing as how you brain dead human beings not taking that money and turning it over to black majority state migration, since you don't have enough brain cells to turn that money over to black majority state migration and his support team, something ain't adding up. Something ain't adding up. Something not adding up. So y'all folks, I just wanted to come on here and say a few words. It's a spectacle. Day after day, it's a spectacle for this elder here to witness all of this bizarre behavior coming from adults. It's embarrassing. I must tell you, in 62 years of being on this earth, these last few months, for me to have observed, to sit back and observe this day after day, I never thought I would live to see this day. I would have never thought I could live to see this day where I observe adults day after day, month after month, week after week, get up and do the same old brain dead functions, activities. I never would have thought I could ever witness that. It's really sad. It's very, very sad and painful to me to watch this at 62. Y'all got it. I can't say no more. Y'all have a good day. Thank you for popping in for the broadcast. Thank you kindly. Thank you for taking time out your day to pop in. I hope and pray that each of you are safe and out of harm's way. I ask that you please think for yourself. Think for yourself, and don't let these people lead you over the cliff. Don't let these persons ask you to volunteer to commit suicide. Don't allow them to do that. Do not allow any person to do that to you. Not me. Don't allow me or anyone else to do that. To do that to you and your family and your loved ones. Don't let them do that. When you can simply go over to Google and do a search and get a breakdown of all 52 states, and all of these adults could probably stop lying to people, but they won't do that. So y'all have a good day. Y'all have a good day and keep safe. Take it easy. Well. Hello, folks. This is Who Did You Boycott today? I just jumped on here to say a few words. I'm not changing my title, but this sorry human being by the name of Chicago Red, she's in shut up space and cutting off folks at will. I don't understand why y'all folks allow these human beings to disrespect you. She cut folks off right in the middle of them making comments. That's been her pattern since she got over here on Twitter land. And no one seems to want to check her. What's y'all problem? Y'all don't have enough backbone to check this lady? Y'all just let her get on a stage and cut folks off right in the middle of them making their comments?